Everyone, welcome back. Google's best Gemini demo was faked. I've got to be honest with everyone on this channel. I never thought that shit was real anyway. There lies the question. Was it actually faked? Because I watched a video from a YouTuber, an investor YouTuber, was very confident in this video. He was very confident in what Google was showcasing. I was interested I watched the video. I was quite happy with the video. And now he's made another video. We want to have a look at that by ourselves. So the big question is, Joseph Carlson, was he wrong? I can't be the only one who watches Joseph Carlson's video. He posted that video yesterday. Google finally did it. I was like, what did they do? I watched his video and as usual, I really liked his videos. But now he's made a new video begging the question, did Google fake the AI demo? Like I said, I never thought that shit was real in the first place. But this brother is making content and content and content, and he's not slowing down.
2 days ago on my channel, I released a video titled, Google Finally Did It. This is impressive. The video went over a recent demo, a demo released by Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google, both on Google's YouTube channel and on Twitter. The demo was incredibly impressive. In fact, it was so impressive that it quickly garnered millions of views. On Twitter, it got 8 million plus views alone, and then millions more on YouTube. It was overall one of the most impressive demonstrations of AI that I've ever seen. But here we have news that
it was anyway.
It was potentially faked. That the entire thing was just a big fake.
If it was faked, why is it still on Google's official YouTube channel? They're the owner of YouTube. They own this YouTube channel. Why is it still up? The comments are still turned on. Newest comments. Okay, here we go. Newest comments. This is staged, but yesterday I saw a 7-second clip of an actual AGI similar to this video. 15,600 people were have to early accesses, but it canceled until December the 16th. Vocabulary is shit. This video was staged. They're the comments. They're there. Faked, all kinds of comments. So the question is, why is it still on Google's channel? But you can see from a couple of days ago, there's quite a lot of videos that are still on YouTube's channel, on Google's channel. Let's see what the article has to say from TechCrunch. Google's new Gemini AI model is getting a mixed reception after its big debut yesterday, but users might have less confidence in the company's tech and integrity after finding out that most impressive demo of Gemini was pretty much fake. A video called Hands-On with Gemini interacting with multi-model AI hit 1 million views over the last day, and it's not hard to see why. The impressive demo highlights some of the favorite interactions with Gemini, showing how the multi-model understands and mixes languages and visual understanding, can be flexible and responsive to a variety of inputs. To begin with, it narrates evolving sketch of ducks. But I want to get to the real stuff. It says very responsive, though the video does caution that latency has been reduced and Gemini outputs have been shortened, so they skipped a hesitation here and an overlong answer there. It was pretty mind-blowing to show off the force of the domain of multimodal. My own skepticism that Google could ship a contender took a hit when I watched the hands-on. Just one problem, the video isn't real. And there's a quote. We created a demo by capturing footage of orders to test Gemini capabilities on a wide range of challenges. Then we prompted Gemini using still images frames from footage and prompting via text. Parmi Olson at Bloomberg was the first to report the discrepancy. So although it might be kind of the thing that Google showed in the video, it didn't. And maybe it couldn't do them live and in the way they implied. In actuality, it was a series of carefully tuned text prompt with still images, clearly selected and shortened to misrepresent what the interaction is actually like. You can see some of the actual prompts and responses in the related blog post, which to be fair is linked in the video description. So it looks like they go through some more information on Gemini. As you can see, I didn't report on this immediately because I had my skepticism. It just felt like if Google actually had this capability, I don't think this is the way they would show it to the world through just uploading a random video. No. This is the kind of This kind of news requires attention of the entire globe. They will announce this on stage for the entire world to marvel at this beautiful technology. This doesn't seem like the kind of technology they will just announce in a random video on YouTube. So I had my skepticism. I didn't report on it straight away. And luckily, a day or two later, people are already questioning it. Now we want Google to come out and tell us straight up what's going on. What is actually going on? But to be honest, it doesn't seem like there's any straight up answer from Google as of yet. The video is still up. We could go into more information. To be honest, I don't really care if it's real or not. What I do care about is how people fell for it so easily. Is this how you think Google would announce one of the greatest advancements in AI technology of all time? A random video posted on their YouTube that is poorly recorded, poorly demonstrated. This is how they'd make their huge, big announcement. Let's hear what Joseph Carlson had to say.
This is from TechCrunch. Google's best Gemini demo was faked. Now, you may look at this headline and say, well, isn't every demo a little fake? Isn't every demo a little unrealistic? But this is different. What Google did here was not show off the best of Gemini and what it's capable of. They showed things that it's not capable of. And that's why they're calling it fake. Now, let's go ahead and read some of the claims here. It first of all does a little bit of an outline of what the demo was. If you missed what the demo was, just watch my video from 2 days ago on this channel. We went over it together. I thought overall it was very impressive. I kept repeating the word impressive throughout the demo because Gemini was so intuitive. It understood the context of everything you were doing. They note here that it narrated an evolving sketch of a duck from a squiggle to a completed drawing. So although it might kind of do the things that Google shows in the video, it didn't, and it maybe couldn't do them live and in the way that they implied. In actuality, it was a series of carefully tuned text prompts with still images, clearly selected and shortened to misrepresent what the interactions were actually like. You can see them in the actual prompt and responses in a related blog post. So here Google has a related blog post that gives more information of how that video was made, and they linked the blog post in the description of the video, but you had to expand the description. You had to hit the ... more below the YouTube video. So Google buried this blog post link in the description of the video below the expanded portion, where of course, how many people even look at that? Nobody's looking at that. And Google knows, because they own YouTube, that nobody looks at the expanded portion.
I'm disappointed in anyone who believed. But it is a bit disappointing because, like I said, this big of advancement in AI, I never thought this would be the way Google would announce it. So it was suspicious from the start. And I'm glad I didn't rush to report on it and talk about how great it was, because there's always more to what meets the eye. So here's Joseph Carlson saying Google had disclaimers. Well, why didn't you read the disclaimers? You're an investor in Google and you made a big deal about this. Why didn't you read the disclaimer? Why didn't you read into the real scientific finding? I think this was confirmation bias by Joseph Carlson. I think he wanted Google to do well in the AI race, and he was quick to accept anything that Google said and does because he's an investor. He's biased. He's compromised. That's confirmation bias. We all know what confirmation bias is. It's when you have a self-belief and any small amount of evidence that could support that self-belief, you accept it regardless of the obvious flaws. We've all fallen for something like this. But come on, wasn't it obvious that Google would never, what company would announce such a huge advancement in AI in just a random video? No presentation, no large events. This is a huge development in AI. And Google wouldn't announce it in this way, and they wouldn't announce it yet. They would think of so many ways they can capitalize on this before making the announcement. They would consider, would it actually make any benefit towards their company? Or would it just tell their competitors where Google is at in terms of AI development? Guess what? Now your competitors know exactly where you're at. They know that your AI is not as good as you're claiming, especially when it comes to audio recognition, image recognition. But this was short-sighted by Google. and it was short-sighted by investors and enthusiasts such as Joseph Carlson. But apart from that, I love Joseph's videos. Great videos, great content. Most of his videos I really like, but this one, I felt from the moment like, you're wrong about this one.
They look at things above the fold. So there they have the expanded portion. They buried the relevant context there. And if that's not bad enough, another thing I'll mention is YouTube's not the only way that people saw this demo. They also posted it on Twitter. On X, Sundar Pichai posted the entire video, full length, with no added blog post, with no added context. There's no link to anything else. There is just the misleading video. So I don't give Google a pass on this at all. They didn't link this additional blog post with important context to the post from the CEO. And this one has 7.4 million views. That's millions of people that were misled by this demonstration. Now, again, you might think, how misleading could this possibly be?
But if Google messed up, what about the YouTubers who spoke about this? What about everyone who jumped on the bandwagon without doing your research? So you also mislead people, such as Joseph Carlson also misled people in his own video. Are we going to be journalists? Because if we're going to be journalists, we need to do better research. Are we bloggers or are we journalists? Bloggers get things wrong. Journalists, you can't get something this wrong. Because if you're saying Google has misled people, you've misled people as well. And so as many other people who've spoken about this without actually doing accurate research. You've misled people, just like Google. Perhaps what Google is showing off with this video is the type of technology that they will have eventually. Maybe they're 2 years away, 3, 4, 5 years away. But it doesn't look like they're there yet. We've got to be a bit more cautious before we just make videos praising companies. We've got to read the fine print. We've got to read the description. Especially if we are investors in said company. We're implicated. Confirmation bias.
They show off what it's capable of doing to the maximum extent. Demonstrations are marketing tools. So naturally, they're going to have a little bit of a tilt towards showing off the best capabilities of a given product or software. But this takes it a step further. What Google does here is beyond showing the best capabilities, it shows something entirely fundamentally deceiving and different. They say, for instance, at 2:45 in the video, a hand is shown silently making a series of gestures. Gemini quickly responds with, "I know what you're doing. You're playing rock, paper, and scissors." Isn't that cool? That's exactly what we saw. This is from the video. He starts making rock, paper, scissors gestures, and Gemini seemingly intuitively just understands what he's doing. In reality, Gemini didn't do this at all. He had to lay down photos of all three of the gestures at once in front of Gemini and say, "What do you think I'm doing?" Hint, it's a game. With all of that context, with all three gestures at once, and this prompt, then Gemini said, "You're playing rock, paper, and scissors." But you had to have all the gestures in front of Gemini at the same time, which of course you can't even do because you have two hands. So this isn't like a little bit of an exaggeration. This is just entirely different. What was illustrated, what was sold to us as investors in the demo was entirely different than what Gemini actually did.
What they actually showed in the videos, they're at least 2 to 3 years away from that, if not longer. 4 to 5 years, perhaps. They're not there yet. But will they get there one day? Of course they will. Of course they will. But Google is a very desperate move. Since OpenAI has been doing so well, especially with ChatGPT, Microsoft have been doing so well with that. Google has been desperate. 5 years ago, Google was leading the way in AI. In fact, they've shut down their AI projects because rumors came out that it became Sentinel. They shut it down. And now they're desperate to get back to where they were. Now, Google has a history of shutting down projects. They start a lot of projects. They have a huge incentive in that culture of Google to start projects, but do not want to complete it, do not want to see it out. I love the Google business, but there's also a lot of things about the Google business that is evidently flawed, such as this desperation. I'm going to end the video right here. If you want to go watch the entire video, feel free. But why would you tell your competitor where you are Google would never do that. No smart business would ever do that. No one wants to give away their competitive advantage. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.